Shanti. So, Upanishad, as we have seen, yes, uh, today we'll take the third verse and Pitodaka Jagdatrina Dugda Doha Nirindriya Ananda Namate Loka Tang. So, as we have seen the background, his father, Nachiketa's father, he was performing a sacrifice in which everything has to be given away. You can say serious about all the best. So he's giving all the kind of worn out and old and decrepit cows. Here it said the son he sees what's happening, and then he says the third verse, please. He goes to those worlds that are known as joyless, who gives away the cows that have drunk water and have eaten grass for good regeneration organs. So we had these priests. This is not carried out properly because dakshina, the gifts, is an integral part of the sacrifice. Yes. So what happens is this boy he sees his father after the main sacrifice is over, the fire sacrifice. The gifts have to be led first to the priest and then those who are waiting, the others. Eating those gifts, he sees those cows and what have drunk the water. That means they don't have a strength to drink any more water. They have eaten grass and now they don't even have a strength to chew any more grass. And they have been milked. I mean, they've not given any milk also. And Nirindriya, they are without organs. Now, such decrepit cows are being offered as gifts. You see, those priests, attendant priests, they are not fools. And the people are not fools. They are saying this is a kind of a sham. That this guy, he wants to have the fame of performing the sacrifice, yet he wants to clear his cowshed of all kind of disaster, you can say, relief. A lot of people come with clothes and this and that. We've got plenty of clothes, we'll give it to you. And then we find that some of the clothes are old and torn and dirty. I say, why? You've been clearing your house, huh? In disaster areas. Oh, uh, oh yes, we have some old clothes. Let's give them away. It was something like this. We have some old cows, decrepit cows, which are useless. Let's give them away. What happens is the boy, he sees these gifts in this state being led, and then everyone else is annoyed, obviously. And then the boy says, the second line is, that is in the English translation, why does that person go to the worlds that are joyless? It's a kind of a caution for us. That is, if you have to give something that really pinches you, something that's good, that will be useful, or you'll after death you'll go to some of these worlds which are joyless. Generally, we like to go to a place which is full of joy, like say kind of a heaven, it's full of joy. And you might not go to heaven. You've performed that sacrifice with all the trouble, and instead of going to heaven, you're going to some other place. They don't say hell, but
Oh.
so, joyless places. And this is what happens is, in the old days, cows, cattle, that is, and land was the wealth the person had. And apart from gold, which side? Generally, even today, we have something called, oh, we like to gift a cow to so and all that. They want to earn merit. And since it was an agricultural society, cows are looked at as a kind of big treasure. Yeah, it's a wealth. So he's giving away all these things, and as a result, what happened? This boy, in the next verse, fourth verse, I'll read the English translation, then I'll chant this. Okay? He said to his father, Father, to whom will you offer me? He spoke to him a second time and a third time. To him, the father said, to death I offer you. Since the son also is a kind of a, it belongs to the father and is a kind of a wealth, I belong to you. And the idea of that sacrifice is you've got to give away everything that you have. Now, after come on the side. Yeah. And the why does the boy do that? He wants to take corrective measures. The father is doing something faulty. It is the duty of the children to see that the faults are eradicated, that the parent becomes truthful in his endeavors. So, in all, it's a kind of a confusion. Everybody's annoyed, and the father, looking very in the midst of all this, says, "Whom will you give to? Which priest will you offer me to? Since I am also part of your wealth, I belong to you. So you've got to offer me also." It's never done. This is a kind of a sacrifice. And we see that truth has to be upheld, and it's even greater than life. Even life is nothing compared to truth. Swami Vivekananda says, everything can be sacrificed for truth. Truth cannot be sacrificed for anything.
Hmm.
So here we have this boy, he wants to take kind of corrective measures, remove the fault that is there in the proceedings, and, well, whom are you going to give it to? It's, and the father says, oh, impertinent. And the the boy asks him once, two times, and the third time he asks him two times. Vityam today, three times, sorry. First time, second time. Oh, father, whom are you going to give me? Whom are you going to give? And the father was kind of annoyed. I'll give you to death. Go. Yeah. Well, what happens is Sri Ramakrishna used to always say, let your words and your mind be one. If you don't do japa, don't do dhyana, don't do anything, it simply doesn't matter. This is secondary. If you can make your mind and speech one, you've got everything. Whether you have studied or learned or no, it doesn't matter at all. You have stuck to truth, and the God of truth is going to protect you. This is what we fail to understand. Secondly, what happens is we become kind of integrated as we keep on becoming honest to ourselves. Yes, it is that kind of dishonesty to ourselves that breaks us. At least to ourselves, no, this is me and this is how I've got to behave. Simple as that. I'm not going to worry my head. What did I say? I didn't say the right thing, and keep on, again, contemplating on that. It's a kind of a, you know, big loss of mental energy. So you speak the truth and finish it off with it. Yeah. So he puts himself as a kind of a sacrifice. And now, since his father said, go, I'll give you to death. I mean, that's the extreme. No father will ever tell, go and die. Of course, nowadays there are some fathers, you die. Hey, you're a hopeless and useless fellow at this and that. Why don't you die? And then the son will say, why don't you die? Ah. These things are, these things, of course, few and far in between. But generally, the son and the eldest son was supposed to be held in veneration. So yes, when Swami Vivekananda he returns from America to India, and Swami Brahmananda Raja Maharaj was there to receive him, and Swami Vivekananda he touches his feet and says, "The son of the Guru is like the Guru. Guruvat Guru Putreshu." And then Raja Maharaj again touches his feet, salutes him, saying, "Well, the elder brother is equal to the father. So Jeshta Vrata Samapita. So, he's like the father. So this was a kind of affection. You have a guru, but then you see Swami Vivekananda was slightly elder, and he was, of course, held in great veneration by Sri Krishna. These are the filial bonds that tie people together. So those things are, of course, breaking and snapping and disintegrating. But the son is kind of held in veneration. And if it's a girl, in India, we have this, is a girl. The father also calls her mother. Yeah. Hmm. He looks on her as a aspect of the divine mother. And everyone in the house, they kind of adore that young girl. Oh, because she's a girl? No, she's an aspect of the divine mother. So, coming to the point here, the, the father himself saying, I'll give you to death. It's kind of, the extreme cases. The next one is the story is actually leading us to how he goes to the house of death. Okay. And what questions he asks, and he gets the secret of what is death. You all want to know what is death. What is death? So this story is kind of illustrative of how we approach it. It's not so important. Only few things are there. The son, he says, the fifth verse is, among many I rank as belonging to the highest. Among many, I rank as belonging to the middling. What purpose can there be of death that my father will get achieved today through me? Bahuna me pratamo, bahuna me madhyama, kingsvidyamasya kartavyam, yanmayadhya karishyati. So when the father said, "Yeah, I'll give you to that, go," and then he caught himself. Oh, what have I said? These things have been uttered by me, and I have to stand by it. That is the first principle in spiritual life. Yeah, I've committed a mistake. I've got to stand by the mistake. Yeah, that this is my I've done something wrong. Admit it. The boy keeps on thinking, send me to death. He could have sent me to some other place. Go to heaven or go to somewhere else. Uh, yes. So he says, among many, I rank as belonging to the highest. Bhavana, this is what happens. So he has that kind of confidence that I'm not an ordinary person that can be discarded. Amongst many, I rank as as belonging to the highest. So, like amongst the disciples and the sons, the other sons, and all of that. So, amongst a small group of disciples, he is the best. And amongst a very larger group, he may not be the best, but he's somewhere in the middling. Never is he the last or the worst. So he keeps on saying, what purpose will Yama attain by me going there? You know what happens when you have something, that thing has been come into your custody or into your care so that you can utilize it in order to raise yourself or you can enhance yourself, something like that. Always. So the boy is thinking, I go to the house of death, I'll meet death. What will death accomplish to me? What will he gain by me going there? That's the idea. The next is that this boy has got confidence. Confidence that comes through knowledge. It's not that he's egotistical. Amongst many, a rank as belonging to the highest. It's not egotistical. In fact, just today we were reading Swami Adbhutananda telling, uh, uh, saying people used to call him, Swami Vivekananda, as very egotistical. Mm. Hey, his feet doesn't even touch the ground. But it was Sri Ramakrishna who says, oh, he's not egotistical. He has valor. He's heroic. He won't bring his mind down. And this is what happens. You must be able to rise above many small things in life. And if you don't, then you're dragged by this. So this boy, Nachiketa, he has that confidence that comes through knowledge, through heroism. Not that he's afraid of death or something like that. He's thinking, what will death accomplish? He's not afraid of death. And that is one of the things we also need to know. Why should we be afraid of death? Death is such a nice guy. Really? Oh, no. Death is a terrible. No, actually, it's not terrible. It's not horrible. It's not nothing to do with. In fact, life is more terrible and horrible. That is a kind of nice place. You can. He comes and takes you, and he's such a sweet person. Uh, Last time I told you, I think how there is a dialogue between uh, There is the god of death in the Mahabharata, and Savitri. Savitri, as you know, Savitri and Satyavan. She married a guy that went against all conventions. Father was annoyed and this and that. Because in the old days, the girls used to select their husbands. And the guys used to come and sit in a row, and the you can say these criers. They used to enumerate the princes or the persons good qualities, and the girl used to go around listen to all this. No, 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 no. Sure, you rejected all the suitors, and she married a guy who was living in the forest. That's fine. But later it was found that his father had been ousted from his kingdom, and he actually was a prince. So the whole thing was he is only supposed to live for another year. His lifespan is 1 year more. And one sage tells her father, don't tell her to marry him. He'll die within a year. What's the point in marrying? She'll be a widow. So she said, no, I've set my mind on this boy, Satyavan, and I'm going to marry. And after 1 year, as usual, the boy is lying down on her lap and dies. And then she sees the god of death approaching. He has a noose. He throws a noose around the soul of Satyavan, draws it, and is taking away. So Savitri keeps on following it. And the most beautiful, you can see, conversation between her and death. And finally, he had to release the soul of her husband, Satyavan. He's saying, go, my child. Well, love has conquered death. Your love has conquered death. Go, take this soul back. So, if love can conquer death, truth can conquer death. So many things are there. So, death is kind of small thing. Don't raise it to the high heavens. That's the end of everything. No, that's sometimes the beginning of everything. Yeah, that's sometimes the beginning of better things. So this boy has got this confidence, and he's wondering what will he ever do with me? I'm just a small boy, but not a kind of a useless fellow. I have some knowledge, and I'm in my, you can see, behavior. I'm good. Death. So the next verse now, the father is now worried. He is hesitating whether to send this boy to death or no. Yeah. So now the son tells the father. The sixth verse is, consider successively how your forefathers behaved, and consider how others behave now. Man decays and dies like corn and emerges again like corn. That's kind of a illustration. See, what happens is we have a long line of, you can say, uh, behavior that has been kind of crystallized by successive generations. These kind of people should behave like this. What? How should they behave? Well, this class of people are supposed to behave like gods. They they have to be godlike in their behavior. They cannot do the small and the useless and the hopeless things. Their character has to be built on godliness, on spirituality, and they can't let their guard down. Simple as that. And over the generations and generations and generations, what has happened is this had become a set, you can say, ethical standard. for such people. So the boy is telling the father, you don't go back on your words because that has never been done by your grandfather, your great grandfather, your great 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 grandfather, and the whole line. It's never done. You say something and you say, I'm sorry, retractive. No, you better stick to. So the boy knew his family traditions. Oh yes, that is important. And somehow that is the kind of a crucible in which we grow in, we mold ourselves. How? See, when we look at people, there are people, how do we know this is the proper ethical behavior? When the child is growing up, the child observes people around and builds an ethical standard by observation, by abstracting everybody's behavior and words and everything. That child has a kind of an abstract idea of ethics. Secondly, we know perfectly well inside what is right and what is wrong. Kind of play with truth or play with untruth, but then we know exactly we are playing with truth. So this abstract idea of ethics, morality, it has been kind of absorbed by this generation. So he tells his father, see all your, remember all your past. And so the very venerable, you can say, lineage of sages. Otherwise, you cannot have us sitting here today after thousands of years studying these kind of things. Yeah. You would have said, okay, the kind of, I was just joking. Hey, come on, let's go. Don't forget. No. But can't you joke? You can't joke. Yeah. But when you're joking, you joke. But when these are serious, serious things, and your ancestors never joked with truth. So here he's saying, see, or say, consider successively how your forefathers behaved and consider how others behave now. What is there around? The other people around. There are certain unwritten rules in society. We generally follow, even if there is no kind of constitution or you can say a civil code or a criminal code or don't do this and don't do that. We exactly know what has to be done, what is not to be done. So Swami Vivekananda, what's the idea of morality? Well, that which is unselfish is moral. That which is selfish is immoral. Yeah. Then there's another kind of when one of the sages who wrote the whole of the Mahabharata, kind of compiled. He's saying, well, what is virtue and what is vice? Well, virtue consists in not harming others by thought, word, or deed. And vice is harming others through thought, word, and deed. And this is can say found in all the scriptures. This thing Sarva Shastra Puraneshu Vyasasya Vachanam Dhruva. The words of Vyasa are unshakable. Helping others is virtue, harming others is vice.
Can you think?
You can't even think. Think of harming others. Well, you've already harmed because everything starts in the mind. Hmm.
You can think of the problem.
You can think of the problem, but if you can say, this guy is useless, hopeless, is this, is that, this. There, you've already committed. I think it's in the Bible also that you already committed a sin in your mind. There.
And then you
Right.
deal with it, though.
Yeah. Sorry.
Then you deal with it.
How do you deal with it? Well,
You grow up.
yeah, you go through these processes of, oh, this is something wrong I did. Okay, from now on, I'm going to correct myself. This whole thing is so. This boy, he's trying to kind of enlighten his father. Don't go back on your words. It has never been done before. Why? Your whole 7 generations. Generally, the child, when he's born, first thing he has to memorize is his ancestors of 7 generations. Some families make 14, so he got to memorize all their names. It's a kind of a like Swami Vivekananda when he returned to India. I think they asked him before departure from London, Southampton. Uh, why do you want to go back? After staying all these years in America and Europe. Oh no, the very dust of India is sacred to me. And then he says, people are the descendants of the old sages. And actually, we have certain rituals where we have to name our original progenitor. Like we have these 12 tribes of Israel. We have something like that. And then almost all of us have some sage at the beginning of this. So it is not, oh my God, I am the far descendant of that sage which we study in these Upanishads. I can't do all this. It's a kind of that very prestige that you've been born with saves you from all the dirt and the dust and the other worldliness. So here he says, and see how other people behave right now. See. And then he says again, people are born and people die. Like corn grows and then dies. And again regrows.
Corn.
Like I said, why should you sacrifice truth for even life? No, you can give up your life couple of lifetimes, so it doesn't matter. You'll come back again. You you're born, you grow, you decay, and you die. Die in the sense of, uh, and then again you're born. Kind of giving an illustration, and we have been doing that for I don't know, numberless times. Coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. So he says all this is transitory. That's what he's trying to say. So yes, this you've got to remember. Hold something which has permanent value. That is the truth. So the commentator says, okay, the father is now he's cautioned by the son, and he agrees, okay, yeah, I did a mistake, and I'm going to stand by my mistake. And the son is taking corrective measures, and for that he has to go to the god of death. It's agreed. Now this Upanishad, the story doesn't tell how he went. Okay, it's obvious because this body has been the result of certain karmas which has formed this body, and this body now can experience this gross world. Oh yes, to go to the higher worlds, you need a higher, you can say, what do you say? A higher body. So that's better. A higher body. A better body. You can't experience heaven with this body. No, no. As we know, we can't even enjoy this world properly. You give a guy a couple of cakes and he's after eating one piece of cake, I don't know. Have another one. You come to eat cakes and eat this cake. No, I don't know. This body is so limited, fragile. And do you think this kind of body will be able to enjoy that kind of heavenly pleasures? No. The body will simply shatter. So you need a different kind of body. And you see what happens is in one of the commentaries by Shankaracharya only, he said, we actually intuitively know. Suppose we are performing a sacrifice, fire sacrifice. When I perform the sacrifice, the results will come to me. Yeah, perfect. And suppose the result is go to heaven. Okay. Jyotish, Swarga Kamo Agnihotram Juhat. If you want to go to heaven, perform the sacrifice. Oh, it's clear. You want to go to heaven? Why don't you, I don't know why these people make such a big noise about going to heaven. This it's very easy actually. And the second, you can say, boon, he'll explain how to go to heaven in a kind of indirect way. It's easy actually. So they used to, you want to go to heaven? Yes, we'll perform this sacrifice called Agnihotra, and you'll go back, you'll go there. That person who's performing the sacrifice, he knows very well that the results will come to me and cannot be enjoyed within this body. I will need a different body. And only then I can enjoy the fruit of heaven. Well, there are no wings out there. You can't have wings out. So, according to our karma, we create our own bodies. Suppose, suppose some of us we have karma that is like super fine. You think you're going to be here amongst us? You'll be there. Oh, there's a class going out there. So we create our own bodies through our own thoughts, words, and deeds. Simple as that. We make ourselves fit. You say, oh, this world is horrible. But yes, you created your own world. You wanted to experience this world. You did that particular karma. You wanted to have chocolate ice creams. Well, you take this chocolate ice cream now and keep quiet about it. No, I don't want chocolate ice creams. Well, you asked for it. You better enjoy the whole thing and then you go where you want to go. So, when we are in such bodies, we will experience this world. If we have finer bodies, subtle bodies, more refined, we we will not be able to experience this world as it is. We'll have to take go to a higher level of consciousness. It's simple as that. You want to go to heaven? Yeah. You perform such and then you go to your inner body, your subtle body will become refined, and you no longer will be able to experience this world. You will go to the next level. So, of course, I'm just trying to explain that this guy he goes to that world. It's like we on Earth, we can live on. We are adapted. Life is adapted for this gravity, 1G. Yeah, and people they think with this life is adapted here, they can go and stay somewhere else in some planet or something. It's not possible. You'll die immediately. Yeah. Even if you take all the oxygen and everything, you'll die because all the G forces will act on you and finish you off. So we are designed to live only on this planet Earth. Suppose you make your subtle body refined through prayers, through meditation, through this and that. You know what happens? You will experience another world. So this boy, he now has reached the other world, the God of that. It's called the world of the ancestor, the world three. It's not heaven. Heaven is a little higher. There is something called Bhur Bhuva Swa. That is this world, Earth. Then there's a place where the ancestors go. And then there's a higher world where you go and dwell with the gods. There are plenty of gods. They're kind of a huge, you can say, yeah, population explosion. Everybody wants to go there. They all go there. But there's plenty of space down where you can go around. Well, this boy, he goes down there and he finds the god of death not at home. No, he's a kind of a busy guy, moving around, catching this guy. Hey, your time's up. Come. Oh, yeah, come here. Yeah, you come here. Let's go. So he has to wait, and he has to wait for 3 days. Now, to give you the background, suppose a person goes to another person's house, and if the man of the house is not there, this visitor cannot enter into the home. That this visitor has to stand outside or stay in the patio, or we can say veranda or something like that. This and in the old days, if you are waiting for somebody until the gentleman doesn't come, you've got to stay there. And the old rule for such people was without eating and drinking anything. Yeah, but if you keep these kind of people waiting, you're in deep trouble. They were sages, you see. They were all holy people. You can't let a person wait for you. Such a person wait, and you're doing something else. So you see, the householder in the old days was the prop of society. On that did these students who were studying, they they never had a kitchen where their school is. Now you can have cafeterias and this and that in schools. My children can study and then eat. In the old days, they should study and then for their meal they had to go out to villages and go and do holy begging for food. It's called a bhiksha. Yeah. So you had during recess all these young boys going out, and for them they had to beg uncooked food. They had to bring it and then cook it themselves and eat. Then there were the monks. They also don't have a kitchen or a cafeteria. They also used to come to the villages and beg for food. They could eat cooked food. Then there was another class of people. They were called the forest dwellers. That is, people who had retired, had gone to the forest, and they're practicing austerities. Even they are not supposed to cook, but they had to beg for food. So the householder has got three sets of people or three classes of people to feed. That was a primary duty. That until unless he sees that everyone has been fed, whoever has come, only then the householder can sit down and eat his own food. Otherwise, no chance. You're a bad householder. You're forced to become unselfish. Nothing else. Oh, you want to eat you cook your own food and eat your own food, you're eating sin. Like the Bhagavad Gita says, you cook your own food and eat it, you're eating sin. And then how do we solve this problem? Well, you see, take this food and first offer it to the Lord. That's the idea. Why do we offer this food to the Lord? Well, it becomes the food has been offered to the Lord, and now we can partake it. And if Lord is pleased, the whole world is pleased. Tasmin tushte jagat tushte. If the Lord is pleased, the whole world is pleased. So the boy goes and he sees the man of the house is not there. His ministers or his wives, God of that sort, they are all now agitated. This young boy, he's standing out. He can't come in, and he's standing there for 3 days, hungry and thirsty and tired. These guys had real willpower. They kept quiet. But he was just following the. Now they are all in those days. They know I probably never had any cell phones. Obviously, where are you? Come quickly, and all this and that. They were waiting for the god of death to arrive so that they can come. So the first thing they say in the seventh verses, a Brahmana guest enters the house like fire. For him, they accomplish this kind of propitiation. Oh, that carry water for him. The first thing that they do is you take water, wash that person's hand. You pour water in that, you know, like that Pilate, he did that. I wash my hands off you, something like that. Not in that way. First, the hands are washed, the feet are washed of this, and water is given to wash mouth, gargle it. And then a seat is placed. Come and sit. Well, water has to be given and all that. Why? Because such a sage with all his austerities and all his knowledge and all, he's like fire. He's burning bright with that knowledge and that austerities and truth. This guy will burn us down. Simple as that. And that is why it must we can understand. He said a Brahmana guest when enters the houses like fire. वैश्वानर प्रविशति अतिथिर्ब्राह्मण गृहान् तस्यैतागं शान्तिं कुर्वन्ति हरवैवस्वतोदकम्. And in case this person is not, you can say, satisfied, the visitor, then all your hopes and expectations, all your good deeds and everything is burnt or destroyed. A person can destroy other person's life. Yeah, yeah, we see. He says, I love you. And then after 2 days, say, I don't love you. That person's life has been destroyed. Gone. Simply smashed. So here it is like kind of more dignified. A person comes, a guest, and they say Atiti Devo. The guest is a god for that time being. Has to be welcomed like a god, treated like a god, fed, and then given gifts. And this was the old custom. And this was prevalent because, like I said, the whole of the society had to depend on a few people who were the real uh, wage earners who really used to hold society up like that. Suppose they are not welcomed like that, and so what happens is there it is all gone. All your peace of mind, your happiness, and all these things are destroyed. Really? Yes, because you have not treated this godlike person properly. So it's like that. Vaishvanara is the fire, and then like the fire has entered the house. Okay, be careful. This fire might destroy all our peace of mind, all our wealth, all our good works, everything. The next verse will tell us this. So they quickly said, quickly, don't delay anymore. Please help and kind of pacify this young boy. And if the boy gets annoyed, we have in our mythology, and we have a few sages who are kind of these choleric sages, kind of angry sages. Yeah. They'll say something and do something that, and the whole thing has been upset. The whole life comes up. So quickly pacify him. Take water, bring a seat, make him sit down, wash his hands and feet. So this is what the god of death does. Now the tables have turned. This guy has gone as a supplicant, actually. What Yama is going to do? But Yama himself was caught in a kind of a bad situation. And he now kind of supplicates to this young boy, Nachiketa. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, I'm very sorry. You see, uh, you don't say I was busy, I was this and that. They're saying, 3 days you stayed with me without food. I'll give you 3 bones. And that's the idea. We stop here for now. We take this up. So this is now the story is the narrative actually building up. He's gone to the house of death, and now he's been given 3 boons, and 3 boons. Wow, and especially God of death. Imagine. So,
We get boons.
oh yes, you get boons. So, Swami Subodhananda, he was very kind of childlike. He was the youngest. They used to call him baby, Koka. So he loved tea. Uh, and he also recommended that tea to Sri Ramakrishna and Hussain. But Sri Ramakrishna had this cancerous sores, he could not drink and all that. So, but he was a great. He used to recommend tea to everybody. Then one day, Swami Vivekananda was very pleased with him because he had prepared a nice kind of hookah. Oh, you have hookah. I saying, hookah, baby, saying, what do you want? Tell me what do you want? I'll give it to you. I don't want. I got everything. I have everything. No, you ask. No, no, I don't want. I don't. So Raja Maharaj, Swami Brahmananda, they were all there. Go and go, ask something. He's in a mood. And then he say, well, I would like a cup of tea every morning. Granted. That's true. And he got his cup of tea every morning from that. So Swami Vivekananda had that power to. You don't think that he's a guy who's moving around here. He came to Los Angeles, gave some lectures. This, that. They hide their real nature. He was Shiva himself. He could give boons. What do you want? Okay. So if you meet such persons and you say, give me a boon, that is okay.
You give
Don't,
us, you
don't,
give us boons.
I will not be able to give you anything. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So it's kind of interesting.
Is that thing on?